All right, welcome back. We're gonna continue with the whole setting up our layout in this, getting used to camera movement in um, ToonBoom, right? So we have our drawing here, and what we're gonna do is just import the same little elements that we had from before that we created in Photoshop into here. So import images for one, and the files are not here. I'm just gonna look for what I just did a while ago. Sky, SKY. Open with, oh, sorry, open, file location. So I have these elements here: sky, mg, that, this, that. Those 5 files that we're working with. And we press OK and open them. Create single layer. Nah, create layers based on file names. Much better. So you have two options: keep as original bitmap or as ToonBoom bitmap drawing. We just keep the original bitmap. Rules, project resolution, fine. I'm gonna hit, that's fine. And alpha straight, clamp color to alpha straight. Press OK. So what we get here is this. All of them exactly where they're supposed to be, except they're not in the right order. So background elements will go to the back, foreground elements to the front. Right, cloud would be just below sky. Sky will be behind background. Right, clouds in front of sky. But I do like the clouds in front of the background, just to be honest. A little extra to it. Now, the reason why this looks pixelated is because currently we're on pre-render view. In the actual render view, you actually see the full resolution of what you're getting. All right, so we just created the order just now as to how it looks. Cool, everything is lined up nicely, right? And you think, well, cool, that's nice and cool. So let's just highlight everything over here in the node view. If you're not familiar with the node view, essentially it shows you a node view of every element or every composite that you have inside the actual scene here. Right, so everything is in the right order it's supposed to be. Right, so what we're going to be doing next is for each of these, we're going to be applying a peg or adding a peg to each of these, except we don't need a drawing. So exactly. So I'll highlight all those, press Ctrl P. If you did that like so, it just generates a peg for everything. But we want each individual to have their own peg. So Ctrl P, Ctrl P, Ctrl P, Ctrl P, Ctrl P. Right? So we're going to make this footage about probably 120 seconds long. So I have to pull this red stop here out more. Maybe even make it even more. I will just extend the background for all these to that length. So do a simple drag and drop down like so. Press F5 and it drops in the extends the exposure for you. Right. Now there's something we need to do. We need to set up the way everything looks in the scene here. By default, you can always scale your elements, but we don't want to scale them. And by the way, something to be pointed out, this little box here is going to be showing only that which is unseen. What I need to do is create a camera for it. So what I'm going to do is right click here, right? And you see no options for a camera. So what we're going to have to do is go into the node library, just type it in camera, and just drag that camera in there and give your camera a peg. Right? Now what that means is that I can take this peg, which if you want to think of it as a handle, I can use that to control exactly where, oops, sorry about that, I can control where my stuff goes, right? You want to make sure to keep everything within the box, because anything outside the box, well, when you render it's going to come out like that, which is not what you want. And we only use render view really when you want to see what your finalized result is. You wouldn't essentially use the render view when you're playing out your animation, because rendering into final view it takes a lot of time, and really you can only generate like one shot at a time, one frame at a time rendered. So be cognizant of that. So what we want to do is set up our scene so that there's different depths for each of these elements in here. So if you look in perspective, right, if you've never seen it before, perspective is a view that you have have available to you to kind of see things as you'd want to see them. Right, so each element, right, sky and clouds and all these different things have their own view. You also have top view, which will show you each element as well and where they are located based on the camera view. Right, so if we look at this here, you have background, and you note that all these things are going to be on one single Z plane axis. So it's all in the same Z plane. So there's things you can do. Let me just kind of show you what I'm talking about. So if I go to camera view and I kind of split this over here, right? So that's camera view, and then over here we have, for example, top view. Show what that looks like. If I select, for example, sky, and I decide, hey, sky could probably be moved, I can move this sky, and you'll see that it's moving in the scene. And then what would happen? Well, sorry, that's the foreground. Sky, I mean, if we move sky, see if I can actually get it to be moved. Right. You can actually move sky far, far away if you wanted to. But that essentially is not very good for the purposes you want to accomplish. If you move it backwards, you're essentially just pushing it back into the background, treating the sky like it's just a little graphic. Now there's a different option. You have something here that says maintain size. That's keep visual scale in camera view as you move elements in Z-axis in side or top views. So if I actually hit this, I can move my sky element backwards, and it's going to get bigger proportionately to what I'm seeing in my camera. So that way I can set up my scene to have multiplaning, really. So for example, my foreground elements would definitely be exactly as they are, probably right here. My midground elements, which would be the, the sky or the trees. My clouds would be like further in the back, right, almost in the same place as my sky. My background, now if I want the clouds in front, I'll just do that. And next you have the sky, which you already have positioned. So the cool bit about that is that once you set up your stuff like this, when I start moving my camera and I move it across like so, I get that whole multiplaning thing happening for my scene, and it looks rather nice. Cool. Now this will only be effective if you want to see more of, for example, the midground. What I can do is just, like I said, maintain the size and carry this back. And maybe I want to see more of what I'm seeing here. Right, so I'll delete all my keyframes here. Oof, keyframes. F7 to delete my keyframes. Same thing for my camera view. Let's go from beginning. Set my camera pivot point all the way at the front. Right, so we've set up our scene. Right, and the thing is, because I had my animate one on, practically everything has gone back to what it was before. Everything looks flat. So just so you can see how we do that again, I'm just gonna reset up everything. What is going on here? Right. Peggy. Move that peg across. And you can even scale the camera in as well. So that's the whole camera maintenance bit away. So the sky, like we said, in maintaining it, push this all the way to the back. Right, you can even move it across if you want to. But this time, note my I'll move this across to the side. Just note that my sorry, I scratched that last statement. I've forgotten what I was trying to say. My animate button isn't on. That's what I was trying to say. Alright, so that's the background. It's for the sky. The background now, where we have the mountains. Make sure you have this one on. Maintain size. Right, so position things. My clouds, like so. My midground, just my trees. Like about here. Closer. Then I have my foreground, which would be these little trees that we have here. We can do like that. Maybe even position it to that x-axis there. And you just move your cameras now. So I'm going to set my keyframe for my camera, F6 there. Turn on my little running man. And we want to pan this across like so. We just tell it, hey, run across the scene. Run right across the scene as you see fit. Right, so what you wanna do is do that, and you get your stuff done exactly as you want them done, like so. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right, and that creates our little pen with the multiplaning. Lovely. So all you do now is looking at this is you just, if you want to render it, you render it. So what I'm going to do is just render my movie, and so we can see what that looks like. So export. I'll just what's the word? There's a render preview we can do. This thing here, rendering frame 1 through 120. It's going to have a linear motion by default, so there's not going to be a slow start and a slow finish. I'm going to show you how to do that afterwards so that you can actually get much nicer camera movement. Now you're supposed to load up. So here we go, loading the frames, and it's going across quite nicely. Now if I wanted to, I could composite this in such a way that there's some blur in the background, but I don't think that'll be necessary for what we have. Right, so now when we play it back repeatedly, you get something looking like this, and the parallax is happening there. The mountains are moving much slower than the background, etc. And that's all just setting up your foreground, midground, background elements. Then afterwards I could set up something that, you know, we have a little shadow thing running through the midground, doing all coolness and whatnot. So for example, I might say, okay, I kind of want something to be following us in the background, so I'm going to create a new layer, new drawing. I call it shadow prefigure. So I can then, let me just pull this back over here, right? Now my camera is all lined up and everything. I don't particularly need, sigh, forget this. I'll just add a camera because I just can't be bothered. Alright, so we have this, what we're going on here with. And if you want to, the shadowy figure, you can actually draw frame by frame. Alright, I'm going to create a, if we look in the thing here, we have our two properties. And if you want to access your colors, you can always pull them up. And I can create a new thing for my shadow. And I use that as my color. And I can just say, well, and I could just say, okay, cool. I have a thing here that's has eyes and it's seemingly concerned. Right, turn on those things and those things. No, this thing is not going to be moving with the camera. Well, actually, it's going to be moving with the camera. But the way it moves with the camera also is dependent on what? It's dependent on how this thing moves. So if you're not going to be dependent on your midground, right? So for example, this thing is moving with the foreground here. You want to get them real close together, right? So that when it's under the thing, it's not doing weirdness. By the way, I probably want this behind my foreground, to be honest. So back to the top view. Let's shove this a little bit behind and back to camera view. So it's in there. Now we begin to see a little shadowy figure being a thing. You never move. So take off this and put it back in top view and do this thing here with this. And back of the foreground yes. Right, and then all of a sudden we're going to have the same figure. Filled in. Then we say, hey, this guy, you know, have him do a little squash. Tum, to-dum, tum, to-dum, tum, tum. Hmm, 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 hmm.
Jake,
Yep.
can we adjust the timing of the camera pan?
Yes, we can. Too fast? Well,
I was just in the instance where I probably wanted to go slower.
okay, so the camera pan, the speed of the camera pan depends on how fast your keyframes are, or how close your keyframes are. So for example, if we want to be faster, you put less time in between it.
Oh, okay.
The slower you want to be, the more keyframes you put in between it. So you move that. There's also a way to start off, for example, if you want to start off slow, because you notice this moves at a very constant pace, and it stops suddenly. If we use the function curve editor, you can actually control how your camera speed goes. So that's this little weird curve thing down here. So it shows you how the graph looks. When it's a straight line like this, it's actually moving at a very constant rate. So constant speed, constant time, right? Constant distance, constant time. So if you want to actually change, for example, how it starts off. So if you want to start off slow, you set it down like this first so that it's moving across time, but the speed it's going is less. So if you carry it lower, like so you start off slow, but then at the end, so I choose apply and next, and at the end we just slow it down a bit. You can do that, apply. So what happens now is that when it starts playing off, it's going to be like this. Starts off slow, kind of speeds up a little bit, and then starts slowing itself down, like so. Right? That is a little shadow thing jumping across like so. Oh no, it's a legendary Pokeball. Right. Yep. And then maybe goes across here and then probably see another appearance of it again. And if you want to be cheap about it, here's a cool thing. Let's say I create a new, remember we're using Leafy as a rig before, and let's say you want to create a vine, right? Here's a cool thing you can do with vines or ropes or whatever. You design your rope, amazingly epic rope. And let's say I just want this to be like a shadow of a rope. I'll just highlight all that stuff. And all I'm gonna be doing, let me just take this whole thing, cut it, and create a new drawing from it. So that new drawing, rope, and I just paste that there, or paste it wherever it's supposed to be. Probably about here, or wherever that was. Yes, rope thing, where are you now? Back to my camera view, looking for my rope, which is right here, and very large indeed. Alright, so see my rope being this large? Remember, it's because of the way the camera is looking at things. And I'd probably have to resize this rope so that it would fit into my top view of the camera. Right, so where's that rope? Here. And I'd go, well, let's fix that distance and set it up so that my blob is actually moving very close to that rope. I go to my camera view, and if it's too large, I can just scale it down myself. But then here comes the fun part. You might say to yourself, well, I want him to swing from left to right. And rather than actually drawing out the frames for that, right, what I can do is this. Hello, setup. Bam. So that's 1 and 2. And all I need to do now is just rig it. Whoa, my bad. No, it's so far. That's one of the problems with rigging as well. It's the whole timing bit. So I'd have to play with the drawings first before I actually get into the thing. But let's just draw it for now, just to kind of set up our scene. I'll show you the whole rope thing later. So let's say my rope is this large, and I'm at the end of it. Pivot tool. And actually I'll rig it from here. Rope. You go here and you go here. Our rope is set. Let's test it out. So I can actually have a rope swing like that. And in my node editor, here's the fun bit. Node view. Let's see it a little bit bigger. A rope deformation. Right, let's just set that up back again. Yep, please. So rope. Camera is there. But rope is also there. So I'm going to create a peg for that. And just set up my pivot for that peg. And do that. And then in top view now, now we can move stuff right about there. Or rather, not even with this, but rather with this to move it backwards in the scene. And that should adjust the way it looks in the camera. Right, so this is supposed to be in front of the foreground. So in top view, but behind the background. So in front of, behind the foreground, but in front of the midground. So in camera view, we'll have something looking like this, which I can just take and do the deformations and even change the size if I want to. And that won't affect the deformations either, because everything will just be perfectly set up like so. So let's say this whole thing, this little thing jumps off into the distance, and then afterwards we see him swing by across like so. Alright, so I'm going to play with this, move this back to where it's supposed to go. right? So at the beginning, turn on the, you know, deform thing. So I'll have him start from here. So that's the first keyframe. Last keyframe is gonna look like this. I wonder what is wrong with this little pivot. Mm-mm. Whee! Whoosh. Never forget your arcs. They shouldn't be getting shorter. Should maintain the same length. Right. And this goes back. Then the question arises, if this rope comes off screen, do I need to animate the rest of it as I'm not going to see on screen? Obviously not. Wee, swing, 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 swing. Right. So now I'm going to start this little character thing. And you go join frame by frame on the rope, yeah. We can actually create a blob and rig it. Where's my little shadowy figure? right? So what does that look like? Let's play. Now that might be way too slow. All right, that looks good. Yay, we're done. Let's play this again. Actually, let's cancel because we have to re-render those frames. Save first. Replay. Yeah, we'll have to re-render them because we have a character now. Ooh, 120 frames. This class went way longer than it was supposed to. Sort of, kind of.
You did your thing, right?
Yeah. Oops, my battery has died. And now the render continues. Almost there, almost there, almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1, yes! And we have a blob. And it's loading up frames. This blob is just doing a bunch of antics. Whoosh. And roll clip again. Let's see what that looks like. Play, please. Alright, so cool. We just did a thing. Like I said, it's like a rough up version of things. Of course, you might have more interesting backgrounds to make. So that's an idea of how to get the camera movement working. And so I hope you enjoyed this video and are inspired to do even more amazing things than this. This is more about technical animation than it is traditional. So I hope that puts things into perspective. So yeah, take care and God bless. Woo! Recording has completed.